The Steet Ponte Auto Group in Herkimer and Yorkville and Turnbull Insurance Service since 1866 present Mohawk Valley Living, exploring the arts, culture, and heritage of our region. A special good morning to Mr. and Mrs. Kramer, watching from Florida and looking forward to coming home soon to Utica.
Good morning and welcome to Mohawk Valley Living. Today we are going to be visiting the town of Whitestown. At one time it was made up of 12 million acres, and it was called the Mother of Towns because so many other towns were made from it. We have been here several times in the past, but it is always fun and interesting to return.
They got rock and roll, rhythm and blues, honky-tonk music you just can't lose.
This week we traveled just west of Utica to Whitestown. This town was formed in 1788. Although it has been whittled down from its original 12 million acres, it still retains the villages of New York Mills, Whitesboro, Yorkville, and Oriskany. Just up the road is the Oneida County Airport Industrial Park, home to Nortic Incorporated. For 25 years, this injection molding company has been serving a variety of customers throughout the U.S., Canada, and Europe.
We started on September 15th, 1988, and we started manufacturing plastic spools and plastic boxes, and that was it. And we owned all the molds. Then we got into, we started doing some custom molding, and now we probably have a split of 50-50 custom molding and spools, mostly for fishing line, but also for insulated wire and bare wire. We manufacture spools up to about 9 inches in diameter and 4 inches in the traverse. That's the distance between the two flanges.
To learn more about the spools and other plastic molded parts at Nortic Incorporated, visit their website, norticinc.com.
Sitting here, I watch the world go by.
The Steet Ponte Auto Group is proud to bring Mohawk Valley Living to you each week, serving the Utica area and the Valley with outstanding customer service. In Yorkville at Steet Ponte Ford Lincoln Mazda, Steet Ponte Volkswagen, and Steet Toyota Scion. And in Herkimer at Steet Ponte Chevrolet. Stop in and see why it's so easy to do business with Steet Ponte. You go the extra mile for your small business and should expect the same from your insurance company. For over 140 years, Turnbull Insurance Service has been committed to local small business. For your commercial coverage, turn to the company ready to go that extra mile. Turn to Turnbull. Do you see the glass as half full? Then read the positive news from Central New York every day at uticarocks.com. Store co-owners Linda and Joe McHarris invite you to shop the talented local artists at the Artisans Corner. You'll discover one-of-a-kind handcrafted pottery, clothing, candles, jewelry, and original artwork, handmade from the heart of Central New York at the Artisans Corner in Clinton. Shop NJ Flehan during their February sale and save 10% on all pots store-wide. Whether you are outfitting a restaurant or your own gourmet kitchen, NJ Flehan has the equipment and experience. Open Monday through Saturday at 703 Bleecker Street in Utica. Melrose Supermarket is your family hometown market, known for their choice hand-cut meats, homemade breads, and fresh pastas and salads. Check out the weekly specials at Melrose Supermarket, East Main Street in Frankfort. The Newport Marketplace is a new kind of Main Street with over 40 vendors of antiques, primitives, and country chic, and handcrafted art, jewelry, and Amish baskets. New items arriving daily at the Newport Marketplace on Route 28, just 20 minutes from Utica, Little Falls, and the Valley.
Hi, Dr. Tom. Bringing your cat to the Paris Hill Cat Hospital on Sundays is a part of Mohawk Valley Living. Come inside and see why.
Paris Hill Cat Hospital, this is Lindsay. How can I help you? Hello, Mrs. Cole. Your cat is losing weight and you need an appointment? And you're only available on weekends. Sure, I have an available appointment with Dr. Karen Sunday at 2 p.m. Does that fit into your schedule? Okay.
We're open 7 days a week because we know that your cat can become ill anytime. The Paris Hill Cat Hospital, quality care for your cats and kittens.
We head to Whitesboro and Clark Mills Road to the Utica Curling Club. The club is one of the oldest curling clubs in the U.S., formed in 1868, but women weren't allowed to curl until the 1950s. Today, women are active members of the Utica Curling Club.
Well, our women's organization is the Glengarrys, so it started off as an auxiliary organization back when women were first allowed to enter the curling club, and we've really kept it alive and keep that organization going. So tonight is the Glen Platy, which is one of the rungs of the women's ladder in the competition. So this is the highest rung of the women's ladder. We probably have over 100 women members. On any given night we might have 4 sheets of curling, so there's 16 people per sheet. And it's great. We have a wonderful rapport out on the ice. We're competitive, but we're still very friendly. That's kind of the nature of the curling game. And then afterwards we sit up after the game and have a drink and share stories about work and family and friends, and really kind of solidify the friendship and the bond that we all have. So it's a great balance between competition and friendship. So, I started curling as a way to get to know my stepmother. At the time, my parents, my dad and my stepmom were dating, and she curled. So my dad started curling, and then we as children started curling as a way to kind of do things all together. And I really just stuck with it. I've been curling since I was 10, so it's been a great thing. Now my husband curls, so with my husband and my parents, we have a perfect mixed team. So it's kind of fun to play in mixed events and get to enjoy it as a family.
A next-door neighbor to Yorkville is New York Mills. Here we find another family-owned business, the Hapanowitz Brothers Market, where the family traditions are carried on today.
Here at the corner of Clinton Street and New Hartford Street in New York Mills are 2 fellows who have been keeping watch on New York Mills for quite a few years. As a matter of fact, I found out today that they became part of this as an advertising idea way back in 1941. That makes them 65 years old, and they are the Jolly Butcher Brothers. The Hapanowitz family has been in the grocery business since 1916. I took my number, and I'm number 213, and I'm now standing in front of the sausage counter, and I'm curious as to how many people behind here are Hapanowitzes. So let me ask, how many of you are Hapanowitzes?
I am right here.
Somebody called me earlier this week about the slice that we're doing here in New York Mills. She suggested that we beef it up a little bit and chew the fat with one of the local celebrities. When it comes to celebrities, when I interview them, I don't want to appear to be a turkey, but I don't mind going out on a limb. And so today we're going to try that for a second. I thought it would be a good idea to ham it up with a local celebrity. So he's promised not to bust my chops, right. But I don't want to reveal too much at this point. So here it goes. My God, that was a mouthful.
My father and his father, about 1939. A couple corner stores. Then they started a bigger store. They opened a smokehouse, and we got a bigger store around here, and we had 2 or 3 satellite stores, and now we're down to one big. And we do a lot of wholesaling too in Syracuse, and so we're in wholesaling and retail. And we handle the best beef, the best items all the time, the best quality. That was the secret. Well, we had everything all around meat store, fresh beef and pork. Plus, we have our sausage and kielbasa, and our homemade soups and everything. We're the last of those, small, businesses, really family owned, and yes, it's destiny. That's it. That's all I can say is destiny.
Well, my grandfather founded the store, I think about 1917. So of course, all his sons had to work in the business. And my father, and Bruce's father were among them. And I started here, when I was 15. I started working here, and we have a lot of customers. Customers that I waited on when I was 15 years old, that I still know now, that still come in today. They used to come into the old store on Lincoln Ave and everything. So yeah, a lot of repeat customers.
What we can see. It's time.
The history of New York mills begins shortly after the Revolutionary War, when Congress passed the Embargo Act of 1807. The community prospered with America's lessening reliance on British goods, creating a boom for the area's textile and manufacturing industries. New York Mill's founding families, the Walcotts and the Campbells, were leaders in the textile industry and constructed 3 groups of mills and a bleachery. Their legacy can be seen in the community's buildings, parks, and churches.
It's time for the Cooper.
There are many, many parks here in New York Mills of which the residents are very proud. The bell behind me was originally in mill number 2, and if you go back those many, many years, the bell played a very significant role. Here's why. At 9 o'clock it was rung every night, and that meant it was a curfew. And by 10 o'clock there were 2 members of the mill that would go patrolling the streets to be sure that the lights were out in all of the homes here in New York Mills, I assume so that people would be ready to go to work the following morning and get a good night's rest. The bell in the park was from mill number 2. When mill number 2 was dismantled, a senior housing project was built in its place, and it is a replica of the mill. Right in front of it is a memorial to those who died on 9/11. One thing we've found over the last couple of weeks is that when you're in this area, the municipal boundaries tend to be all over the place. There's Whitestown, there is New Hartford, Yorkville, and New York Mills. Where I'm standing right now, there's a place that's been here for quite a few years. It's historic, it's traditional, and it is located on all 4 of those boundaries and municipalities. It's Twin Ponds.
This was originally the Campbell estate, and my family took it over in 1946 and built another 9 holes to make it an 18-hole golf course, and then that time changed the name to Twin Ponds Golf and Country Club. The Campbell was a black Angus beef farm, to my knowledge, back in their day, and we've built off of the original carriage house. My family has since added the additions you see to the property to turn it into the banquet hall. I'm the 3rd generation running the property with me and my dad, Joseph, and people come here and play golf. We're open to the public. We have the banquet facilities. It's open for weddings, showers, banquets, testimonials. It's been in the family since 1946, like I said, and I've just been working here and taking over. It's just something I love to do every day.
Dick Keel graduated from the Bulova School of Watchmaking in New York City and worked for 14.5 years at Engelbert's Jewelers. Although there seems to be plenty of watch repair work, there are few who practice the trade.
From what I understand, I'm the only one formally trained. Now, there may be some others, and maybe they do the same thing I do. They just don't advertise because of the sheer volume that's available out there. Actually, a person could just, if they wanted to just specialize and do watches from the 1940s, you could do your Elgins, Walthams, you could just do pocket watches. So, you know, it's basically a 50-hour week. I mean, I've always been interested in the small, intricate things. And it just seemed that for me, fortunately, I just fell right into it.
When you get to heaven where the angels sing, God will grant you peace, you learn your ways. Sing a song.
At the end of Cottage Street in New York Mills, there's a cemetery known as Glenside Cemetery. The land for it was donated by the Campbell family. They're buried here. And they donated the money to build the first Civil War monument in Oneida County, which was built more than 135 years ago.
Whether fate or destiny or plans from somewhere above.
Get your sled out on the trails. Call Turnbull Insurance and have a snow adventure tomorrow with complete snowmobile insurance protecting you and your sled. Call 735-9201 and get out on the trails. Symphoria returns to Hamilton College this Friday, featuring music to celebrate spring. Call 859-4331 to reserve your tickets to Symphoria this Friday at 7:30 p.m. at the Wellenhall Schambach Center for Music and the Performing Arts at Hamilton College.
Everyone knows the Window King for windows because he's been selling good windows cheap for years. But R.A. Dudrak is much more than windows. He's windows and doors, kitchens and floors. So whether you're looking for energy-efficient windows to save money this winter, or a new kitchen to brighten up those long winter months, the Window King has it all. Visit their showroom in beautiful Holland Patent and see for yourself why R.A. Dudrak is the Window King.
Make any day a special day and a special day even better with fresh baked pastries and cookies from Cafe Caruso on Bleecker Street in East Utica. Stop in or call ahead for special orders. Spring color is peeking through at the Village Crossing. It's a great time for sales on winter clearance items, making way for new spring fashions arriving daily at the Village Crossing in Clinton.
Hi, welcome to the Little Falls Antique Center in the shops at 25 West. We have 2 full floors with 50 vendors of interesting and unique products ranging from specialized to very eclectic, primitive to the not so primitive. Remember, shop local, we're worth the trip.
Celebrate the first sign of spring during Sugaring Off Sundays. See sugaring demonstrations, have a taste of Jack Wax, enjoy children's activities and the Empire State Carousel. A full pancake breakfast is served from 8:30 to 1 every Sunday in March during Sugaring Off Sundays at the Farmers Museum in Cooperstown. Shop Shelter for handmade Adirondack furniture designed by craftsman Jim Kiefer. He works with you to create custom pieces to your specifications, from dining room and coffee tables to bookcases, beds, and bunks. Call or visit Shelter on Main Street in Old Forge. Expecting company? Just call Deansboro's Superette. They prepare delicious Middle Eastern platters for any number of guests. Call 841-4377. The village of Richfield Springs was established in 1861, making this year their sesquicentennial. And since our last visit, the bandstand has been restored and there's a new Richfield Springs Museum.
It was settled first by the Indians who found the springs, and they called it the Stinking Waters. That was the name they introduced as Gowangas. Then later on, they branched out, and settlers came after the Revolutionary War, started to build homes and take property from England. A fellow named John Tunnicliffe bought millions and millions of acres around here, and that was parceled out to the new inhabitants. Of course, the farms were the ideal thing because the ground was so fertile. It was good for growing all kinds of things. And as the Indians came in their summertime for a resort area, so did the residents here find that people were coming to enjoy the waters, taking the waters, as they called it, and stayed for the summer. So it grew and grew, more or less like Topsy grew. And people came. We had 7 trains a day coming into town, and they were met by the carriages from the hotels. We had almost 26 lodging places, most of them large hotels, one of which held as many as 500 people. So it was quite a thriving metropolis in its own time.
Here we go again, turning my clock back. I can remember coming down to Canandaigua Lake. Gosh, this was back in the late 1940s or early 1950s, and skating at the skating rink that was right on the edge of the lake. Nothing compares to it. You'd be skating around to this wonderful music, and there was the lake outside. It was just fantastic.
Did you have pom-poms on yours?
I didn't have pom-poms on my skates, but notice one thing about them. The front wheels would move, so you could kind of steer, I guess, with your toes, and the back as well, yeah. You had to be very, very accomplished, or you'd land on your, you-know-what quite often, which I did.
We visit the historic Richfield Springs Library on Main Street. It opened 100 years ago in 1911 with money donated by Thomas R. Proctor on land given by Richard Malcolm Montgomery. We meet young library patron Troy. Could we be meeting a future film director?
Out on the rolling hill.
We enjoy visiting post offices on our travels. And here in Richfield Springs, there is a mural on the wall that goes back to the WPA times. And it's a beautiful, beautiful painting. And you'll notice that there's a barn up there that's an octagonal barn. Something unique about the barn is the fact that the silo is in the middle of the barn. And it's a baker barn named after Norman Baker, who was very well known in the area.
The Baker Octagon Barn is located south of the village on Route 28. It was built in 1882 and is on the National Register of Historic Places. The Steet Ponte Auto Group is proud to bring Mohawk Valley Living to you each week, serving the Utica area and the Valley with outstanding customer service. In Yorkville at Steet Ponte Ford Lincoln Mazda, Steet Ponte Volkswagen, and Steet Toyota Scion. And in Herkimer at Steet Ponte Chevrolet. Stop in and see why it's so easy to do business with Steet Ponte. Symphoria returns to Hamilton College this Friday, featuring music to celebrate spring. Call 859-4331 to reserve your tickets to Symphoria this Friday at 7:30 p.m. at the Wellenhall Schambach Center for Music and the Performing Arts at Hamilton College. Do something about your chronic pain. InterX Therapy can be the answer to your post-surgical or sports injury rehabilitation or chronic neuropathic pain. Call Dr. Michael Tucherone at 853-6225 for non-invasive InterX Therapy. If you're in a collision, you need Precision. Call your insurance company first and then choose Precision Unlimited, providing expert auto body collision repair since 1987 on Route 5 in Clinton. That special art, photograph, or memorabilia deserves a special frame. Oscars creates one-of-a-kind gold and silver leaf mirrors and frames. Oscars Picture Framing, 12 Kellogg Road, New Hartford. Tom's Natural Foods is your connection to local farms for natural and organic fruits and vegetables, meats, eggs, cheeses, and other milk products. At Tom's Natural Foods in Clinton, naturally. Paca Gardens has the largest selection of the finest alpaca clothing and products in central New York. Alpaca is warmer than wool, softer than cashmere, and hypoallergenic. Visit Paca Gardens. Open Monday through Saturday at 27 West Main Street in Little Falls. The Mohawk Valley Center for the Arts in Little Falls presents Local Arts.
We're here north of Palatine Bridge at Denise Allen's studio. We first met Denise probably about 6 or 7 years ago. She was one of our first artists, actually, and we wanted to see what she was up to. She's from New York City, but she found her dreams led her here to the country. She's actually living on a farm here in upstate New York. Let's go see what she's up to.
Denise is a folk artist who creates 3D folk art story quilts and 19th century folk art dolls. She sews the old-fashioned way, by hand or using an antique foot treadle sewing machine. People who view her art seem to sense the tradition.
I don't try to get them to see anything because really what I'm creating is really coming from my heart and my soul, and I'm not creating it to get them to think a certain thing. But the good thing is the people that look at my artwork, they tell me what they see. I guess maybe I'm kind of fortunate in that way. People say, Miss, there's something about your artwork. And these are people that are not African American. These are people from, white people, Spanish people, Chinese people, Puerto Ricans, all different types of people from, global, around the world. They all seem to be affected by the images. They mostly say they see a lot of love and warmth in the images. They see life, what it was like for them growing up. And so even though the images are black images, it's still global because family is global. Love is global. Has nothing to do with color. Well, it's in my soul. It's a calling, okay? Like I said, from the time I was a little girl, I would dream about these images, and I feel like it was the good Lord that put this into my DNA to let me know that one day I was going to be an artist. Again, I didn't understand that when I was little, but it wasn't until I became in my 20s that I started doing all of this artwork, and the people got such a good response from it. I just happened to get a call from the Kahuna Museum, and they want me to come and do a workshop and a talk about my artwork. And that's one of the things actually that keeps me going, because the people seem to really enjoy it. And it's not just about art for art's sake. they get something from it. They feel good about my art. I'm not trying to make them feel good, so it motivates me to want to just keep going. Plus, it's a passion. I just love it. I love old-fashioned cloth. I love antiques. I love old sewing machines. It's just in my blood. I'll just do this and do this and do this until I can't do it anymore. I love it. Yeah.
You can see Denise Allen's work on display the month of February at Brotherhood Antiques at 41 Church Street in Canajoharie, and visit her online at deniseeallen.com. We continue to follow the Shenango River as it meanders south from the college. It eventually leads us to the tiny hamlet of Eaton. The town of Eaton was once the principal location of the Oneida tribe. Europeans began a settlement here in the 1790s, utilizing the river for grist mills and sawmills. The village was known for many years as Log City.
Here we are traveling along the Shenango River, and what do we come upon in the middle of Eaton but a lighthouse? And there isn't a body of water, there's not a lake, there's not an ocean for miles around, and there's this lighthouse. It was built over 80 years ago as an advertising gimmick, I guess, for the Colonial Beacon Oil Company, and now it's a post office. I am standing in front of a stately mansion that was built around 1800 by Joseph Morse, who was one of the founders of Eaton. Back then it was known, though, as Log City.
Growing young, virgin tongue, all your songs yet unsung, on a knees with the bees. Let's go climb up that tree, let's stay this way forever.
The Shenango River was a critical link in the canal transportation system of the 1800s. We visit a much different mode of transportation at Eaton Aviation. This award-winning shop specializes in the restoration of small ragwing aircraft.
Well, I retired from corporate flying 20 years ago and repaired a Piper Cub for myself for my own use. And that seemed to have pricked an interest in repairing fabric work and steel tube airplanes that not a lot of shops do today. To me, it's a passion, but we repaired an airplane, and before we had the airplane done, we had our first customer. And thinking I was going to be retired, that stopped because now there are not enough days in the week or hours in the day to keep up with what we really enjoy doing.